Heading home, traffic hour, but today was payday. I'm gonna pop up the check right here, and when we get home, I'm gonna break down the deductions, the contributions, the taxes, and all that for an 80-hour work week in a factory.
A couple days later, I had to wait till the pay stub actually popped up on my phone because my bank pays me 2 days early. But look, let's get straight into it and break down what goes to taxes, the benefits, all these different things, and how it all works out, right? So my gross pay for 2 weeks, 80 hours. I get paid bi-weekly, and each 2 weeks I work 40. Every week I work 40 hours, and I get paid every 2 weeks. So it ends up being 80 hours that I get paid out, okay? So my gross pay for 2 weeks, 80 hours, was $2,608 with 11 cents. That's how much I got paid for 2 weeks. Taxes was $536 with 52 cents. And that's disgusting, but that's just how it goes, right? Deductions was $199 with 88 cents. And then my net pay came out to be $1,871 with 71 cents. I'm not going to lie. Normally, I do get around $19.50. Right now, that's what I average around every single 2 weeks. Depending, it fluctuates, like how you see right here. It's a little bit lower because I had to put some PTO and a little bit of sick time, so that brings it down, you know. And also, they give you guys a bonus every 6 months, and I choose half stocks and half cash, so I get a little extra, like $50 every paycheck, which doesn't show here. It shows like as a separate deposit. But I get an extra $50 every paycheck, so that adds, and that's what brings me to like $19.50 usually. But look, let's break it down, man. That's a crazy amount of taxes, right? And you guys might be wondering, I do live in California, and the taxes here are pretty crazy. So that's just what I end up having to pay. And look, my earnings, right? I think this is broken down. I popped the picture up. Broken down into every week, right? So the top 3 is 1 week, and then the bottom 3 is another week. Is what I think, right? So that's what I get paid usually for the amount of times. And the overtime might seem low because we don't get paid overtime until the last 2 hours of our 12-hour shift. So the first 10 hours is regular pay, and then the last 2 hours is when it's overtime. I don't know why it works like that. That's just how it is. So when we get paid on the paycheck, it's 70 hours of regular pay and then 10 hours of overtime. And that's how it like calculates and ends up being on our check. It's just how it is. If we got paid overtime right after 8, probably make some decent money, right? But that's how it goes. I had to put some vacation, as you can see. And I had to put some sick time because I was late. And in order to not get like a point against you, you put in some sick time when you're a little late. And that covers you, you know what I'm saying? So I had to do that. And then look, the deductions where I really want to... I guess if you guys really... I mean, you know, overtime is $200. Vacation, regular pay, you guys see it, you know? That's how it breaks down this week. And then my deductions. 401k... I contribute 156.35 cents, man. And I do 6% of my paycheck goes into my 401k. And then ESPP, Employee Stock Purchase Plan. From the March to, what is that, August, right? I only do 1% on that, and that ends up being $26. I used to do 5, and then I'd lower it to 2. Now I'm lowering it to 1. I don't know, it fluctuates, but right now I'm trying to build up my emergency fund, so I brought it back down to 1 so I can contribute more to that emergency fund while I build that up. And then eventually, once I get set up or increase my income, get a second job, I will probably increase that. But that ends up giving me like 2 to 4 shares like during that time frame, which is not too bad. And I also have the bonuses every 6 months that I put half of it into company stock. And then look, I have group term life. I'm not really sure what that is, I'll be honest. I have a legal plan just because I don't know. I thought it would be useful. You never know what might happen. And then you have a voluntary accident and identity theft that I pay $6 for together because I just thought, why not? And then this is where it freaking gets nasty. Federal income tax, $216.36. My employee Medicare, $37.82. Social Security employee tax, $161.71. California state income tax, $89.36. And then California disability employee, $31.27. Honestly, I don't know what each one of these things is specifically. I have a rough idea, right? But I don't really know what each one of those is. I do want to do more research just so I know what is getting taxed and where everything really is going, just because I feel like that'd be a good thing to know. But look, that's how much I end up earning for an 80-hour period. For 2 weeks, 80 hours, I earn right now around $19.50, which ends up being like around $4,000 a month here in California. Right now, my pay is at $31.11, I believe, somewhere around there. And this is honestly a decent amount of pay, but the cost of living is pretty bad, especially here in California. And with all the freaking prices and all the things going on, it makes it hard. Not hard, but it does make it a little harder to save. It's still possible, but to comfortably able to save, enjoy the side things, and do this and do that, you do have to sacrifice some things. You get what I mean? But in my case, I chose to sacrifice certain things so that I could build wealth. You know what I mean? And that's where I find my entertainment and fun right now. But don't get me wrong, at times I do splurge on a little some here, a little some here. And my expenses, month to month, end up being around, honestly, I don't even know, because I do want to, how I said in previous videos, I want to make like a spreadsheet and really calculate how much I'm actually spending every month and how much is actually coming in, and like really break it down and see how the numbers go. You know what I mean? Because right now I'm just throwing money around, and I don't like that because I'm not really fully sure on what is going in and what is going out, and that's not a good thing. But that's how it is right now, I'll be honest. But let me know what you guys make, or where you guys live, and how you average out every month. Because right now I am coming up on top every month, but I know with certain times, at certain situations, it is hard to put some money away into investments or savings, because the expenses on a certain month kind of went up, you know? Like a couple months ago, my car was in the shop and I had to pay like close to $1,000 to fix it, and that was cheap because I took it out of the city, right, to go somewhere where it was a little cheaper, and I still had to pay like $900 to fix it, right? Which wasn't bad though. It was pretty messed up too, so like that's why it cost quite a bit. But that month, like, it was hard to like invest and save. But then that's what the emergency fund is for, and that's why I really want to build it up to 10,000, so I can just feel like that stress is gone, and then I can start focusing more on going harder with the investments. You get what I'm saying? But every 2 weeks, I bring home right under $2,000, and honestly, feels good. I'm blessed. Of course, always want more. Of course, I'm striving for more, and I'm working towards more. But this is just part of the process. I wanted to share with y'all what I make. What I spend is going to be a different video, so you guys can see what I'm working with. And you guys can see that, I mean, certain people are going to have certain situations, right? That's just the way it's going to be. But you got to figure it out for yourself the same way I'm doing it for myself. Take care.